Dímelo, mi gente, Marco here again with the video. And before I start off the video, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone that is celebrating here in the United States or wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for always watching the videos. Thank you so much. It really does mean a lot. Today is a day to, say thanks, be with a family member, friends, whoever it may be. If you ever need me, I will always be here to help out in all of your crypto needs. So yeah, really thankful for you guys. Hopefully we continue having a great, amazing year, and happy holidays. Today is the start of the holidays, at least in Latin America, right? I'm from Puerto Rico. So we start the holidays literally today. So yeah, enjoy your holidays and hope they're a Merry Christmas. Anyways, we are going to be talking about this hit piece, how the lawyers and how everyone is framing it at Berachain. So basically, Jack Kubinek, he was at Blockworks, if I remember right. Anyways, he did this article where it says Berachain gave his co-lead investors a refund right that is valid up to a year after Bera's TGE, according to documents obtained by the Unchained pod. So really, big allegations. They're basically saying that one of the investors basically had a right to a $25 million refund without other investors knowing. So that is actually genuinely insane. I will say though, we will be listening, well, not listening, but we will be reading what Smokey the Bear has to say, one of the Berachain ecosystem lawyers too, and as well as someone else. We'll also be going over, the daily active users, the transactions, the revenue, everything that's happening on Berachain. At the end of the day, the people that always get screwed is retail investors. So that's why we're here. Hopefully you learn a lot from this video. And yeah, without further ado, thank you so much. Let's get into it. So the refund right was granted to Nova Digital, a fund with Brevan Howard Digital, which invested $25 million in Berachain Series 2. Now, Nova Digital has until February 6, 2026 to require that Berachain returns part of all the money. Nova Digital is also currently being spun out from Brevan Howard's per of source familiar. So I need to know who the source is before, right? I hate when people say, oh, per sources, oh, per this, per that, right? Like, I want to know what the source is and who kind of, these allegations are really serious. So 4 lawyers we spoke said it was unusual for an investor to be granted a post-TGE refund right. Unlike a typical VC investment, the Brevan fund that backed Berachain wasn't taking on any risk. Either Bera would pump or Nova could ask for its money back. So perhaps no investor has more at stake in Bera's fate than Framework Ventures, which co-led the Series B with Nova Digital. Unchained has learned that by the end of second quarter of 2025, Framework had purchased roughly 72.4 million in Bera tokens at an average price of 3.42, meaning Framework would be down more than 50% on the stash at Bera's current price. So for disclosure, I'm not a lawyer. We're going to be listening from a lawyer what his thoughts are, but I'm not a lawyer. I don't really, understand most of these terminologies. SAF is simple agreement for future tokens, all that kind of stuff. You can read every single thing here. Here are the signatures too. So I just want to read a little pieces from the article and what I found interesting. What I first found interesting is literally the first thing. In late 2024, thousands of partygoers descended on a Singapore nightclub to attend a party hosted by the on-launch Bera-themed blockchain named Berachain. The line for the event snaked through a Singapore mall. I wonder what mall is this? They have a nightclub at the mall, and out of the frame of one incredulous onlooker. By then, Berachain had grown from a 2021 NFT project depicting a bear to one of the crypto's buzziest new blockchains, and they were able to raise 1.5 billion. 142 million, which is actually pretty impressive. So yeah, kudos to them. And yeah, at the end of the day, I believe in blockchain technology. I do want to say, right, a lot of blockchains might disappear. Who knows? I'm not in the camp of whatever blockchain you use or I use is going to stay here for the next 5 to 10 years. I do like to look at the data and the analytics. And yeah, I haven't used Berachain, for warning, right? So we don't know how the ecosystem is, but I could only assume. But I do want to mention from this article, and it is right here. So what I found interesting is that this has happened before, right? There have been projects like Flying Tulip, a project unveiled by the DeFi developer Andre Conjuring, which he was the one that did Phantom, right? If I'm remembering right. earlier this year granted all investors an unconditional refund right in its 20 million fundraising round to provide downside protection in the investment. And unlike the Berachain's case, this is a perpetual put option was overtly publicity, but advertised publicly or publicity. So yeah, basically what Berachain did wrong is not telling any other investor that they were doing this. And obviously some people are going to be like, hey, you know, I wouldn't invest in this if I know that. Or maybe, yeah, this is the fund that's doing it. We really trust them. For what I understand, Brevan Howard is a really reliable fund and they have done right and they have a lot of really good investments. So I will say that, right? I will give them the benefit of the doubt that, yeah, I don't know where the miscommunication happened or someone didn't tell anyone, whatever it may be. But I also want to, you know, see this. So other investors in Berachains will also be underwater in the deal, assuming they invested the reportedly 1.5 in valuation. The fully diluted valuation was 526 million at the time. Let me see what it is now, 137 million. So, no, 530 million, right? Fully diluted. So it looks like from the piece, no one really cared. If we take a look here at the price was like around here. So really looks like no one really, you know, cared about this. Obviously crypto, but we are here from Smoking the Bear. He says Brevan Howard's co-led our Series B a year ago out of their Abu Dhabi office via Nova, a new liquid only vehicle on the same terms as all the other investors. Nova had approached Berachain to lead the round some months prior to this. So this was really interesting. Nova approached them. It's not like Berachain went out and like seek to them. From what he's saying, basically Nova said, hey, we want to like lead this round. Let us lead it. Also, in contrast to everything implied in the piece, Nova is still one of, if not the largest token holders in Berachain. They're a liquidity provider, a holder of both Log Bera acquired in the Series B and Liquid Bera purchased on the open markets and have continued to be supportive through highs and lows. If anything, they have increased their Bera exposure over time despite running a liquid fund in a harsh alt environment. And I will say, running a fund right now in this environment is really insane. So kudos to them. It looks like obviously everything is down. Like if we take a look, everything is down 70, 80, 90%, right? Like we can't be this disingenuous. Like, oh my God, they're the only ones doing this, or oh my God, they're bad people, blah, blah, blah. Like everyone is down, right? Even Bitcoin is down, what, 30, it was down 35, 38%. Someone says, funny, to be honest, you should have just responded LOL FUD. And he says, nah, it would have been a banger, but you know, didn't feel the correct response. And I will say, right, none of the other investors that have, you know, been in those investment rounds have really said anything about it, right? Everyone has kind of stayed shut or quiet. So I am tending to kind of believe like Smokey the Bera, as well as here we see Joseph, the immutable lawyer. I'm not going to read this one because this was kind of when the piece came out. We are going to be focused on this one. And he says, disclaimer, I am not Berachain's lawyer. I be our firm representing almost all the top protocols on Berachain, as we do with a lot of other chains too, by the way. We're not Berachain specific. So basically, you know, he's one of the lawyers in one of the biggest lawyers in all of crypto. He says, in conclusion, where is it? In conclusion, half-baked, click-driven, and factually incomplete. Unchained had the full documents in hand, term sheets, 35-page SAFT, 7-page Nova side letter, and still managed to publish a hit piece that is wrong on single most important question it pretends to answer. So the entire story collapses on one clause. They themselves quoted, the 25 million refund right only activates if Nova deposited 5 million into the Berachain's funding wallet within 30 days of TGE. So by the 8th of March in 2025. No deposit equals automatic termination. Now, 8 months later, Unchained openly admits that they could not verify, quote unquote, whether that deposit ever happened, yet frame every headline, tweet, and live spaces as Nova is sitting on a live secret one-click 25 million exit button today. So he then goes on to say, like, this isn't journalist, it's blah, blah, blah. I'm no journalist. I'm not going to take any side of, you know, this story. I'm more so looking at, you know, the Anchi metrics, all that kind of stuff. You guys know me. I tend to like that better. Obviously, this is something that people should know, right? If you're investing and if you're a retail investor, we're going to take a look here at this tweet. And this is, kind of my sentiment. So it is 2025 and they went that route anyways. What they did is basically mess up or screw up the retail investors that believed in them. And that to me is a real scandal. He says it here, like, that to me is the real problem, right? All these big VCs, big firms that they raise hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, they make money almost every single time on retail investors, and retail investors are left holding the bag. Obviously, not some, not all. But yeah, for the majority, the people that got, screwed over the most are retail investors and the people within the ecosystem, because, the price is going down, the fees were going down, everything is going down. So now we're going to take a look at all the metrics. And if we take a look here, let's just look at the financial statement first, right? We look at the fees and the earnings, how much they earn in revenue. They only earned 60 cents in revenue, which is actually insane. And obviously, like, revenue and fees to me is really important. A lot of people in crypto, well, not a lot of people, but some people in crypto say it's not that important. And obviously, the ideal and the belief and the innovation, that is also something to take into account. But when you're making that low of revenue on millions and millions of dollars of investments, right? We're talking about millions of dollars in investments. Making this low on fees and revenues is actually mind-blowing. I do not like that. And if you take a look here, the core developers have kept leaving. They only have 18 core developers now, which is down 31% from the past month. And they have 52 developers at one point. So yeah, honestly, not the best metrics by any means. If we take a look here at the financial, and the fees all time has been 228,000, which is 40th in terms of everything. I mean, I'm not comparing them obviously to Ethereum and Tron and Bitcoin that have been around for a long time. But still, it's not that much. 16,000 in the 30 days, and they're ranked 28th. Is, not really a good sign. If we take a look here at revenue, past 30 days has been 57 cents. Wow. 38th to all time. Let me see. All time 8,000. Again, so much money raised. Where did that money go? Where did that money go? Only 8,000? Like, it's actually insane. I hate this for the users, right? I hate this for the users. They have 17,000. Let me see, in the past 30 days. Past 30 days, they have 17,000, which ranks 27th, right? That's below Beam, below DFK. I never heard about this chain, but I know Beam, right? Not that many people, here. If we take a look at core developers, like I mentioned, they have 55, now it's 14. So the developers are leaving. So I wouldn't mind if they're not making that much money in revenue or fees, right? It is a really hard market to make money. But when the developers are leaving and there's no, belief in the ecosystem, that's when it starts getting scary. That to me is when it starts getting scary. And the last one I want to talk about, transactions. They do have a lot of transactions, right? If you take a look here, they have 20 million transactions in the past 30 days. And they can't make that much money in fees and revenue. Like, what is happening, right? What is genuinely happening? It's actually pretty insane. If you take a look here, though, they almost have 1 million followers. Recently they got hacked, or they had to stop the blockchain or whatever. I'm not gonna be talking about this really. I'll leave this in the description down below so you can see it. But there was an incident. I didn't read into it. I just wanted to, to talk about it just a little bit. But if you take a look here, right, they're down 90%, 91% now, 93% from the all-time high. I personally wouldn't invest, but if you're in the Bera ecosystem, if you're a Bera baddie, I remember the Bera baddies. I don't know what they're doing now, but if you are in the ecosystem and you use some of their applications and some of the stuff that they have built, obviously they set a new state of the art, like proof of liquidity, yada yada yada. That was the new big technology. Yeah, if you believe in them and you trust them and you use Berachain on the daily, then yeah, go ahead. It's a good investment for you, right? My thesis of investing is always invest in stuff you use. If you don't use it, don't fall for the traps. Don't fall for the hype. It's never good to fall in the hype. So Is it gonna go up? Probably. I think everything is gonna go up in crypto eventually. Like we cannot stay for here a long time. Probably fees and revenue and users are gonna increase sometime soon. But honestly, this is just not something I'm really interested in buying at the moment. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. As always, happy Thanksgiving. Let me know in the comment section, what is your favorite Thanksgiving meal? Is it the turkey? Is it the mac and cheese, yams, collard greens, whatever it may be? Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.